rise today to give voice to the people of Eastern Kentucky who are hurting due to this administration's war on coal. Recently, I traveled to Pikeville. Pikeville is in the central Appalachian coal fields to hear firsthand from coal miners, their families, those in the energy industry, and others about how their communities are being ravaged, literally ravaged, by EPA's excessive, overly burdensome regulations on coal. Now, the EPA didn't want to listen to these folks. I tried to get the EPA to have a hearing in Eastern Kentucky, and they refused. So I did it. I held this listening session to put a human face on the suffering that is being felt in Appalachia due in large part to this administration's war on coal. And so I want to share with my colleagues just a little bit of what I heard in that listening session down in Pikeville a few days ago. This is a picture of Howard Abshire, right here. Howard Abshire. He's a former production foreman and a fourth-generation coal miner. Howard Abshire. In the audience during his testimony was his son, right behind him right here, Griffin. He's a fifth-generation coal miner. What the father and son have in common is they're both out of work. Both the father and the son are two of over 5,000 Kentuckians who've lost their jobs in the war on coal. Two of the casualties of the president's war on coal, Howard and Griffin, out of work. Now, Howard is holding up a piece of coal right here in his left hand. Coal mining is what the EPA wants to stamp out. But coal is also the powerful substance that powers our homes, provides light and heat, and fuels the commerce of goods and services worldwide. This is coal, he said. This is coal, he said. This keeps the lights on. Howard is only one of many coal miners laid off for lack of coal mining work. This is what he said. Look in our schools, look in our nursing homes, look in our pharmacies, Howard said. We're hurting. We're hurting. We need help, he said, but we don't want to be bailed out. Howard said, we don't want to be bailed out. We want to work. Howard doesn't want to be bailed out. He wants to work. Now, seated next to Howard is Jimmy Rose, right here. This is Jimmy Rose. He's a veteran. He fought in Iraq. He's a former coal miner. Jimmy was perhaps the most famous attendee at the listening session because he brought attention to the war on coal to a national television audience on America's Got Talent. Jimmy's a songwriter and a singer. His song, Coal Keeps the Lights On. Coal Keeps the Lights On. That was his song that he used in his competition in America's Got Talent. And it spoke directly to the hardship in his community caused largely by the war on coal. This is Jimmy Rose right here, and here's what he had to say. It's in our heritage, he said. It's in our blood. Addressing the Obama administration, Jimmy said, look at what you're doing, who you're affecting. Coal mining, Jimmy said, is a way of life, just like I say in the song. Don't kill our way of life. I hope one day I can always say coal kept the lights on. I also heard from Monty Boyd, the owner of Wayne Supply Company and Walker Machinery, a mining and construction equipment distributor that serves Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, and Ohio. The company employs 1,900 people and operates 25 stores. Wayne Supply this year celebrated 100 years of operations, yet, this is what Monty had to say. At a time when I should be excited about our future, I am full of concern and uncertainty because our future outlook is bleak, due to the regulatory ambush of the coal industry by the EPA. He went on to say, coal in Kentucky is more than just mining. It is the driving force that keeps our energy rates affordable, keeps our manufacturing sector competitive, and is the economic lifeblood of Eastern Kentucky. Monty went on. He said, I'm disheartened to continually see the federal government and the EPA take such an anti-business stance that destroys an industry that is vital to our regional economy. Monty said the federal government appears to be choosing the winners and losers in regard to the energy sector of America. Now, those are strong words from someone with a good perspective on Kentucky's coal industry. I also heard from Anita Miller over here in the photograph. Anita Miller. She's a manager of safety for Apollo Fuels in Middlesboro in my state. She's worked in the industry for more than 15 years. And here's what Anita had to say. My son walked earlier than my daughter. Every time she would try to stand up, he would either knock her down or put his hand on her head so she couldn't stand. She said, this is what's happening to our coal industry. Anita went on to say, every time we try to stand up for ourselves, someone either knocks or holds us down. You can't really buy anything or make plans for the future because you don't know what the future holds. My wish is that the people who are trying so hard to destroy the coal industry would just stop for a minute and think about the hot showers they take, the lights they turn on, and that first hot cup of coffee in the morning, and remember that it came from electricity powered by coal. I couldn't agree more with what Anita says. It is apparently too easy for EPA bureaucrats and the Obama administration to make decisions that have a huge impact on the people of Eastern Kentucky. They don't think about the consequences. And I might add, without bothering to meet face-to-face with the people they hurt. The EPA scheduled listening sessions for its new regulations only, Madam President, in cities far, far away from coal country, both geographically and philosophically. Cities including New York, Boston, Seattle, and San Francisco. They held 11 listening sessions in all, but the closest one to Eastern Kentucky was in Atlanta, requiring Kentuckians to make a 14-hour round-trip drive simply to attend. So it's pretty clear from the location of all these listening sessions, the EPA did not want any real input. That's why I convened the listening session in Pikeville that resulted in the powerful testimony I've shared with my colleagues today. Since the Obama EPA would not come to Kentucky, I brought the voices of Kentuckians to EPA. We held 3 panels composed of those in the coal industry, miners and their families, and local elected officials to illuminate the disruption in these communities caused in large part by the war on coal. Many of my constituents filled out comment cards, and my office delivered them yesterday to the EPA along with the hearing testimony. I want to leave my colleagues with the comments of one Kentuckian, Justin Bradford, who's a retired teacher in Pikeville. Here's what Justine Bradford, here's what she wrote. Dear EPA, will you please tell Santa Claus all we want for Christmas this year is to be able to work? This is Justine Bradford. Tell EPA to tell Santa all we want for Christmas this year is to be able to work. Here in Eastern Kentucky, we too are real people Please help us find a job. Come and work in our shoes. So, Madam President, the people of Eastern Kentucky believe in coal, and with good reason. The abundance of coal in America, and in Kentucky in particular, is a God-given resource. For decades, it has powered our factories, transported our goods, and warmed our homes. Yes, the blessings of coal come with the responsibility to use it in an environmentally friendly way. But they also come with the responsibility to see that hardworking Kentuckians who rely on coal for an honest day's work and steady pay are given every chance to earn that. And they come with the right of all Americans to take full advantage of this God-given domestic resource to produce clean, cheap, and safe energy. These things have been true for many decades. There's no reason they shouldn't still hold true now. Eastern Kentucky must look for some economic opportunities beyond coal, and I support that. And I know the people of the region can accomplish great things. It's vital that we consider Eastern Kentucky's future. But let me make this point. It is equally vital that we not give up on Eastern Kentucky's present. As we consider Eastern Kentucky's future, it is important that we not give up on Eastern Kentucky's present. And coal is the key to the present in Eastern Kentucky. So the Obama EPA has the testimony I heard in Pikeville. Whether they wanted it or not, they've got it. Eastern Kentucky is going to continue to push back in this war on coal. The war isn't over yet, not by a long shot. This president will be gone in 3 years, and the coal will still be in the ground. The people of the region are resilient, and they will keep fighting. So I'm very hopeful for a positive outcome in Eastern Kentucky and the Appalachian region, and I'm going to defend them in every way that I can.